Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Proud Skill Worker. Today we have Joey Hughes on the show. Joey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad I could be here.
Joey, tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you come across skill work? How'd you come across being on the podcast? How'd you get into trades? I mean, let's talk about you for a little while.
Well, I've always been into trades, not always mechanical or maintenance. Uh, I've been all over the spectrum. Um, and trades is just something that I've always loved. I mean, I've gone from, firefighting to animal medicine. But my actual background's always been a love for maintenance, mechanics, anything working with my hands. Um, Good thing about trades is you don't have to spend, 7 years in a college to be able to do it. Um, Trades is, you're not spending your whole life paying back tuitions. Um, and it's to me, trades work is the backbone of everything. I mean, without trades, we wouldn't have a lot of career opportunities out there.
Let's kind of jump into that conversation about college and education and repayment and debt. And I want to get your thoughts on that from 15 years ago to when you were hearing everybody get pushed into college to today. What do you think the big change has been? Like, what do you think the mindset change is?
Well, I think people finally realize the career path in trades. Um, I mean, because people, always thought all the good money was, after 8 years of schooling and internship. And I think people are finally starting to realize that there's a lot of money in trades, maintenance, carpenters, plumbers, electricians. Uh, People think that you have to go to college, and you're always told you have to go to college for 4 years to make any money. Well, I mean, if that's true, I mean, even doctors have to call a plumber, doctors have to call electricians. I mean, trades will always be there. Lots of times we're in the background. You never see us, you never know what we do. Um, and that's why I'm so thankful for companies like Skillworks, that actually appreciate the tradesmen and women out there and what we do, and the life we live is not always glamorous, but we go out there, we do the work, and we get it done.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think you're right. I want to understand this 8 year period. We talk about college and degree programs and anywhere between 4 years, 6 years, 8 years to get your degree, and then growing into your internship and developing into your role and the job you have. What's the average life's or the average training cycle of someone in the trades? I mean, you can pick something you've been in. You said you've been across a multitude. What do you think that average training cycle is?
I mean, say in the field I'm in now with robotics, PLC, and electronics. Um, Essentially, I went to college for my certifications, uh, 2 years. But with trades, a lot of it is on the job training. Out in the field. That's where you learn a lot of it. By no means do I say schooling is not good for you or don't do it. By all means, I mean, if you can, absolutely. Certifications are a big factor nowadays, where before, you really didn't hear much about them. Um, so that's another thing is, some people might not realize that you don't have to go for a degree. You can go get your certifications in a field that you want. You're looking at, 6 months to a year, um, with a fraction of the cost of tuition, and still be able to have results at the end.
If you're talking to younger maintenance technicians or individuals who are looking to maybe get into trades or are teetering on the trades and college line, um, What would be your thoughts around recommending these hybrid programs that people have where you go work at a company or at a manufacturing facility like the one you're in, and over the course of your first 3 years, they get you certified in these courses, they send you to courses, versus just going to do those courses on your own and then starting work? I've seen a we've seen a lot of companies, to include Skillwork, who are going to this hybrid upskilling program where we take people who are working with us and we're just layering in more and more skills. So do you think people should be looking to pursue that hybrid model, or more, hey, get your certifications and then go into the field? Or how would you recommend that?
Oh, no, I would absolutely agree with the hybrid. Um, Me personally, I mean, you never want to stop learning. The more you can learn, the better you are. And I've been fortunate enough to work with some other companies that, they paid for my schooling. They paid for everything. Uh, and it's definitely a model I would go after. If you could get your foot in a door in a company and they say, hey, listen, you work for us, you'll get on the job training, and we'll send you to school to learn more. I mean, it's a no brainer, it's a win win.
Yeah, and I think more and more companies, to include Skillwork, are doing that because, one, we see a gap. So we see a skills gap, but we also see a gap in the training programs that people are exposed to. We see a gap in the training programs that people want to be a part of. Like yourself, you've transitioned industries just in the three you gave me, from maintenance to firefighter to animal medicine. I mean, that is a spectrum that you have crossed in a fairly short period of time, and all of those brought you a different skill set. So how would you tell people to find that career path, or that life path they want to be on? What's your input on that?
That goes right back to never stop learning. I mean, uh, you might be in one field right now, but someone says, hey, why don't you come over here, help me wire up this motor? And you learn how to do it, and you realize, oh, hey, I really love, motor control. So you go to motor control. And then someone's like, hey, why don't you come help me work on this robot? Oh, wow, that's PLC, you're programming. Oh, I really love to program now. Every time you're learning something new. And sometimes it takes years, but eventually, when you find that one thing that you love to do, that's where you focus on for a while.
What do you think some of the biggest challenges are that people need to learn to overcome nowadays, and that you think people are that are tripping the most people up? Because I think that there's challenges in the industry that catch people, and I think that's pushing a lot of people out. What do you think those challenges are?
One of the biggest challenges I've seen is people doubt themselves way too much. You know, you get the people that say, oh, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. I'm not good enough. Well, at one point in time, everyone wasn't good enough. I mean, everyone started at ground zero. You you have to believe in yourself and a good support group. Your family, your friends. Uh, they will definitely make the difference. And believe in yourself. I mean, you might not know everything right then, but that's going to come with time. Uh, that's one of the probably the biggest. Um, that I see is just people doubting themselves, their ability to do it. Um, the jump is scary, but if you never jump, you'll never know.
Mm, so true. How do you come alongside those people in those moments? Like, what is it that you see, and what is it you do when you see a technician who's just like feels like they're frozen on the edge of the diving board? What is it you do?
Just help them through it. Just like I've had amazing mentors beside me at different jobs. Um, People I've looked up to. I'd be in the middle of a project, elbows deep in a motor or something, no idea what's going on. And I've had people come up to me and just say, "All right, now just take a break, relax, and help you through it. People like that show believe and believe in you. Um, it really helps you grow, and it helps you down the road when you see someone like that. You repay the favor. You help them out because everyone, doesn't matter how long you've been doing something, everyone needs that one person sometimes to just help them through it.
How how impactful do you think that is on people's attitude when they have somebody who's willing to do that, willing to hit the pause button for them and help them through that situation?
It can make the impossible possible almost every time. I mean, sometimes as a technician or as, as tradesmen, we are our worst enemies. I mean, we tend to overthink uh, and dig too deep into something just because that's the way our minds work. I mean, we're constantly trying to figure out things. And sometimes we need that person to snap us back to reality and go, hey, 2 plus 2 is 4. And it helps a lot, um, especially when you're texting and you don't know math. It helps a lot.
It's easy. It's easy not to worry about math when you know that you're the greatest state and number one is all that matters, right?
See, I'm glad we understand each other.
uh, a lot of friends in the Marine Corps were like, you don't have to count high. Number one is right there. That's Texas. We're done.
That's it. That's it.
um, Tell me a little bit, Joey, about how you approach your workday, because it sounds like the way you approach your workday and the way a lot of people who we've had on the show and a lot of people we've known in the industry is different. I mean, you genuinely seem like you love going to work, and maybe I'm off the mark, and maybe that's because you're sitting in your house talking to me. But talk to me about it.
I mean, to be honest, no, you are correct. I love going to work every day. I love what I do. I love being able to have the experiences that I have. I mean, uh, besides not having my family here, being 30 hours away from home, um, other than that, I mean, I'm seriously living the dream. I mean, where else can I travel the country, get paid for it, and get to work on equipment, do what I love to do every day?
And for those of you who are watching, Joey lives in Texas, but he's currently in Massachusetts. So that's the 30-hour gap he's talking about. So I think, Joey, when you talk about loving what you do, have you always loved what you do, or is this something one day you woke up and went, I got to just find something I love?
No, I've always had a passion for computers, electronics. Uh, Real quick, I mean, it's all started when I was about 11 years old. My dad bought a 486 DX Tandy. For anybody out there that's not at least 40 years old, that's a computer. One of the
for,
very first.
for those of you who
Yeah,
didn't see TV in color very often.
exactly. Well, he bought this thing, and back then it was, I think, almost $3,000. Back in the very early '90s, and I remember tearing the whole thing apart.
Mm.
Literally, ribbon cables, hard drive, floppy drive, everything was laid out on a desk. And he walked in and saw it. He just very calmly said, "Son, if you love living, you'll remember how to put that all back together." Within a few hours, I had it all back together. It powered up, and my love for electronics began.
That's such a cool story. I think as we look back on the people that we talked about, people in your life who have inspired you to be in maintenance and the people who have kind of helped you along the way, that moment in your life at 11 could have been the catalyst for the exact opposite, Joey. And I think it's really cool to see. That could have been the moment
Yeah,
where you went, I have no interest in ever doing electronics again. I'm also going to go
right.
hide in the backyard for the next 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's those little moments that I think it was your dad in this case, but I also think, Joe, you've probably had that interaction with a lot of people on the floor. you've been able to come up to a young maintenance technician or a maintenance technician at any age and go, hey, you need a little bit of help because this is hard, but I know what to do here. I think it's really important for people to remember that.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, I've been doing this for, not forever, but I've been doing it for a while. Been through a lot, seen a lot, worked on a lot of different equipment. And I'm in a plant now that I've never seen this kind of equipment before. And sometimes you have to step back and go, I don't know everything. Find the guy that's been there for 20 years. Say, hey, how does this operate? And when you start realizing that, it's not a crime to ask for help, it's not a bad thing. You just got to remind yourself everyone had to learn at one point in time. And when they show you and teach you, the next person that comes in after you might ask the exact same question. You answer it, you help them. And it just keeps, going down the line. Uh, you see a lot of times, people that are, I'm not going to give any information up because I want to be the important one. That hurts a lot of new people coming in because they get taught don't ask questions, and that's not right. I mean, everyone asks questions. I mean, that's how we stay safe. If you're doing something not safe, someone needs to tell you, hey, don't do it that way.
Yeah, I think you bring up something that we hear a lot on this show is that people are hesitant to give away information because they want to feel valued. They want to stay valued. I think the
Right.
encouragement we give on a regular basis here is you giving the information is more valuable than you holding on to it. Being the man or being the individual in the company who spread that information amongst the whole team and created 10 really good mechanics or technicians is more important than you being the guy who has to do the work of 10 technicians because you don't want to give away one secret.
I've always, a lot of people I've worked with and have helped me and I've helped them. I've always said, I am more than willing to teach anyone everything I know so that I don't have to do it anymore.
Mhm. Work
I
yourself
mean,
out of a job.
that's it. You know,
That's right.
the feeling important, you're going to get that. If you do a good job, you're going to feel important. It's about how you perceive it.
Hmm.
When you go home at the end of the day, do you feel that you gave 110%? You know, that's what should make you happy, not, you know, oh, did I make my boss happy today? So I can tell you right now, I very rarely make my bosses happy, but I do a good job.
I think I think this idea of attaching our worth to the knowledge we hold is a little flawed. I always encourage
It
people
is.
in my life that your worth is attached to the legacy you're leaving behind. And whether that legacy is your family, your children, or the maintenance technicians you grew at your facility, or the impact you had on people by just being a good person, your legacy is what people are going to remember. No one's going to remember the day that Joey helped fix line 6 because he knew where the secret bolt was, but everyone's going to
Right.
remember Joey was a good person. And that's what matters, I think, at the end of the day. And people get a little sideways with this self worth thing. And I think you hit on it with the just being good to people and sharing those secrets and working yourself out of a job by training others. I think it's just important to know.
Absolutely. And, you'll come to find out that uh, even if, okay, you have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, you train someone else also, people still come to you. Even though you train someone else with all that knowledge, people still come to you. It's not, you know, the feeling that, well, if I train someone else, no one's going to think I'm important anymore. Or they come to you because they like you, you know, not because of everything else. Treat everybody equally, no matter what. I mean, the you know, I enjoy seeing and working with new people, seeing the young kids come in. And I'm not going to lie, there's a couple where I'm at right now that are probably half my age and have more freaking knowledge than a dictionary. I mean, they're so smart, and it's like, what's going on, you know? But it's because someone or themselves, love what they do and taught themselves the knowledge. So it's not always the oldest guy out there, treat the young ones with the same respect.
Yeah, I think that's a word. That's a word everybody should probably log away into their brain and start using more often is respect. I think that's a two-way street, and I think it goes about as far as you want it to go. You get a really really long way in life just being respectful. Joey, I like this is one of my favorite parts of the show, and every guest we have on, I open the air and the platform to them. And if you had every technician in the world, everybody in the industry in the world, to hear you give 2 to 3 minutes of knowledge or an information or anything, this is what I want. I just want you to say it. What would you tell everybody in the industry right now if they could all hear you?
If you don't love what you do, stop. Find what you love and do it. I mean, we have a tendency in the trades to get stagnant. You know, we find a place, we do it for 20, 30 years, we're burned out. You know, if you're stagnant, you're not happy, yeah, find something that makes you happy. Go to another skill set, go to another trade. Life is too short. You start when you're 18, next thing you know, 30 years have gone by and you're still at the same job, and you know you're not living to your full potential. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt your knowledge or what experience you have. You know, grow. Keep growing. Don't give up. Don't stop. Live the dream. Even if that dream is it's just something that's important to you. Live it. Life's short.
That's huge. I think those are words that every industry and every person who's pursuing anything in life should live by is live your dream and life is short. I think that's great. And Joey, I just want to say thank you for being on the show today. I think that this was a great podcast. I want to extend a huge thank you to you, to all those who are listening. Please leave a comment, reach out, ask us any of the questions that you want answered on the next podcast. If you want to have Joey back, if you want to be on a show with Joey, reach out to us, guys. We'd love to talk with all of you. Thank you so much for watching The Proud Skill Worker, and everybody have a wonderful day.